Welcome to another Charge Attack podcast. I'm Ben, and I'm here with Luke.
Hi guys.
That's it. We've got a massive talking show today.
Talking to do.
A lot of talking to do. There's loads to go over. Loads has been released in the past week. There's so much so that we're going to try and keep this as in depth but moving swiftly as possible. But we are going to try and save all E3 talk. There's been quite a lot of details and everything coming out for E3
hints
and tips and everything like that. And there's no point in us going over all of that right now because there's so much that we need to talk about that's already been released this week. So we're going to be addressing that next week. And depending on how much information and what else comes out in the next week, we might do 2 podcasts.
I think we're going to need to. Otherwise it'll be 2 podcasts in one video.
So if there is anything that we've missed in this video that you were hoping to hear, that may be the reason. But we'll try and get through as much as we can because unfortunately it's just been on the build up to E3 with PlayStation not there. They've decided to go for a bit of an early stab at everyone, which is great, but we'll get onto that in a bit. So first of all, what we're going to start off with is Nintendo, and Nintendo had Pokemon news this week.
This is good.
Good Pokemon news.
Good, yes.
I mean, it's they announced 4 sort of new games, you could call it. I mean, one's an iOS game and whatnot. So they're games, but they're smaller ones, and then a new version of Pokemon Bank. But we'll take you through them at the moment. So, bear in mind that on the 5th of June, there is going to be a Pokemon Direct, and that will be for Sword and Shield. So that's not going to be talked about too much in this. But the first thing we've got to talk about is the new Pokemon Bank, which is called Pokemon Home. I've never used Pokemon Bank before, but essentially what it does is it gives you the capability to connect up your 3DS games to Pokemon Bank with, say, for example, X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and you can then upload all of your Pokemon to Pokemon Bank, and then you can re-download them, say, on just Y, even if you caught it in Omega Ruby, say, for example. And it's a more updated version of that, where essentially it's going to be able to connect to your 3DS, your Switch, so obviously it'll be able to take on Let's Go Pokemon, as well as the new game Sword and Shield, which is absolutely perfect. This is probably what they needed to do, is just give a bit more of an updated way to play, and
keep those shinies.
Yeah, to keep those shinies, because then, and also what you can do is if you have used Pokemon Bank before and you have got like your whole collection in there, is you can transfer from Pokemon Bank across to Pokemon Home. So this will also connect up to your Pokemon Go as well, so you can transfer from Pokemon Go. Chances are you will not be able to transfer from Pokemon Home to Pokemon Go, though, because
nothing seems to go into that, does it?
Yeah, nothing, because obviously it will completely ruin that game and everything that game stands for. So that's sort of to be expected. I'm okay with that.
It's the same ways between Let's Go, isn't it, and Go at the moment. It's only one way.
So it's not massive news, but that's something that's good for them to announce. Good to say that is coming. It's just an updated version of Pokemon Bank, and like Pokemon Bank, it'll probably only cost a couple of quid a year, if not less. They're considering now Nintendo have their service charge for online play, which is £20. This might be something that comes free anyway. And if you then want to have both games and you want to start uploading, and then you've got the 3DS games and whatnot, then it's just great. It's perfect. That's what they need. There's not too much been shown about it, like what it looks like or anything like that, but we know it's coming.
I reckon it'd be nice and simple. Nintendo are pretty good at that sort of stuff.
Nice, simple, and reliable. Good stuff.
Works.
Moving on quickly. Now, Pokemon Masters was also announced. So this is an iOS game, isn't it?
iOS and Android.
And Android. Unfortunately, that is sort of to be expected. This game essentially it lets you fight original RPG game characters. So say, for example, there was no easy way for me to pronounce that, was there? So say, for example, Lance or Blue or Cynthia. These are all major antagonists or characters or major trainers in these games. Again, not too much has been shown about this, but it just gives you the capability to battle them.
Yeah, that's what we've seen so far. They've released very little.
Yeah.
But it's nice that they're sort of going back to the original games, because we've lost a lot of that, I think, with the new games that have been coming out. They have been very sort of disconnected from the the OG games.
Yeah, which is inclusive. By the sounds of it, this seems like something that's going to be quite, if not free, quite cheap. And it does seem like maybe it's just a little bit of fun. It's not going too deep. I mean, if you're being involved in these battles, what would be quite nice is sort of like, oh, you get given a set team and the opponent's given a set team, and then you have to use it and utilize it, and then there'll be like an easier mode and a medium mode and a harder mode, so you get different teams to fight against the enemy, and they'll have different movesets and different difficulty, which would be quite cool. Being an iOS game, it's not going to be too massive, potentially.
As long as it's not another Pokemon Shuffle.
Yeah, then
because that would just destroy the whole concept out the window.
Yeah, and then start making things really weird and just not too much shown on it, but it's something to consider. Remember that is also available. The next game they also announced, and this is the weird one, is Pokemon Sleep. So have you ever had dreams about Pokemon? That can become a reality. Pokemon Sleep is Pokemon Go, but for when you're asleep.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't understand how you're going to do this either.
That's a way of catching Snorlaxes.
I don't understand why, like Nintendo have announced these before E3. Now, I know, obviously, they'll have their own things that they need to talk about at E3, which, again, we'll talk about next week, because otherwise we'll sit here for hours and hours on end. But that's so weird. Like, all they're saying so far is that you play the game when you're asleep, and you'll need this wristband, which is called the Pokemon Go Plus. So, if you play Pokemon Go at the moment, and you have a Pokemon Go Plus, you now have to get a Pokemon Go Plus. Will the Plus also work as the Plus? I don't know. It's really weird. They loved it.
They could at least call it the minus.
Yeah. Or Plusle, the Plusle, I don't know.
Plusle,
or the Jigglypuff, or
literally
anything that is like
anything.
sleep deprived in that game.
Pokemon Go Snorlax edition.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite cool. They've utilized movement and how you walk about for your Pokemon Go game and how that does it. But now what they're doing is just encouraging people to stay in bed and go to sleep. Do you reckon it must be done on sort of like your heart rate or something, so that when you're sleeping, you're like a lot slower heart rate. So maybe that's how it will like sort of he's sleeping, there you go, he's gained 30 XP. Maybe it's encouraging sort of like people to have like natural sleep patterns.
Is that
like,
because
so in bed by 10?
Go around like at midnight playing Pokemon Go, they're like, no, these people should be asleep. Let's make a game where they go to sleep.
Yeah, we'll just control their lives completely. Again, not much has been said about this. It's an interesting concept. I have no idea where they're going to go with it. It's been slated for a 2020 release date, which is, I'd hope to see more by then.
For 2020, yeah, they've got definitely some big mechanics I'm expecting out of that to uphold. So
yeah, but if it means that I can win at something by going to bed,
I've caught a shiny while sleeping.
Yeah,
so
we're not going to go into that. Just
maybe
some people are super lucky, all right? To go on from that, they also announced a new Detective Pikachu game for the Switch, which
they're riding the hype train.
Riding the hype train is a good saying.
They're dragging on the hype train.
The Detective Pikachu on 3DS did relatively well, and then they obviously brought out the movie. They always said they were going to bring out a movie of it. The movie's done reasonably well as well. I wouldn't say it hasn't broken any records or anything like that, but it's a great fun movie, and now is as good as time as any when everyone's just sort of like, yeah, I really enjoyed that Detective Pikachu movie.
There won't be Ryan Reynolds.
Them to go, there you go, new game. It could be Ryan Reynolds, couldn't it? It would cost a lot of money.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be like, oh, this is going to be amazing. They're going to pick him and be like, oh.
Or Danny DeVito. That's what we all want.
Really?
No. Well, that's what everyone else wants. So that's quite cool. It's something to look forward to if you really love the first one. I never played the first one, unfortunately.
No.
It's one of those ones that I wanted, just never got round to. Always wanted to, but never got round to.
And now's your chance, no excuse.
Yeah, exactly. And it'll be on Switch, which means easier portability, and I can sit at home on the sofa and play it and wear my detective outfit while playing it. I don't
A
have
lot
a
of
detective
games,
outfit, but
had they just been coming on the 3DS, I mean, I have a 3DS, but I would be so uninclined to get them because of it. But now they're coming to the Switch, I'm like, yeah, I probably would get that now.
yeah, the Switch just gives you that ease of use, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just
so
nice.
weird. And that was it for the Pokemon news. So there was a fair bit, but not too much. Does that make sense?
Lots of little bits of information. We're
Yeah.
hoping for more soon so we can work on that.
Yep. But the only other thing that Nintendo have really done this week has been big sort of news is Mario Maker 2 has made it into the news. Where
Not for a good thing.
Not for a good thing. Nintendo love doing weird things. That's all I
They
can
do
really
weird things
sort of
well.
say. And what they've done here is they've created a game which could be the best multiplayer experience you could probably get for the moment. It's really creative in the sense that you can create your own levels, make it blisteringly hard.
But it is multiplayer.
It is multiplayer. You can make
Not
it
in the way you want it, though.
it is. You could make this game blisteringly hard, and you and your mate could sit there and play for hours trying to complete one almost impossible level. Well, no, you can't.
Nope. No friends.
No friends. So you can't play online with your friends for this one. So, which is just so strange. But you can. This is what's the real kick in the nuts is the fact that you can play online with randoms,
Which
not-
everybody hates.
which nobody really cares for anyway, but not with your mates. Like, I can imagine that there's going to be a couple of complications and issues with that. I know that Nintendo's friend system and all of that is not the most friendly, but
These friends ain't friendly.
This is just ridiculous.
It's a very backward sort of like
Step.
prehistoric online gaming.
That's like something you'd expect off like a browser game or
Yeah,
something
right.
like that.
If you just happen to end up in the same lobby, good for you. But no.
If there is an issue, any sort of issue with this game that would cause me to delay it, I would say this would be it.
Yeah.
If I was somebody that, if I worked at Nintendo and I was the one that was saying, yeah, that's all ready to go, we can release that, then this would not be it. And this might be the sort of thing where they'll update it a couple of, say, in 6 months' time, you'll be able to play with your mates online. Don't give me this 6 month crap.
Give me now.
I want it now. You've just tainted this game.
6 months down the line, people aren't going to start to lose interest. No one's going to go back after 6 months. Oh, let's play Mario Maker now.
I mean, there are some people that will, but you know
Not
what?
enough.
You know what?
Not
You know
enough.
what I mean? Like the hardcore and whatnot. You're already losing out. You're creating negative news about yourself because this is something that shouldn't exist in your game. And
should
people, no, this sort of issue shouldn't exist in your game. And this is what's weird. Is like. Is you know that the whole world will find out about Nintendo. You're massive. You do unbelievable things, and people keep a watchful eye on Mario because he's one of the most beloved characters in the gaming universe. So if Mario, your main mascot, makes one tiny slip up, or in this case, he's rolled back down the hill
He's
he just
literally cut
climbed,
Luigi out of his life.
then you're just. It stands out so much, and people are that's just all it takes is something like that is enough to just put one person off. Someone like my father, if I said to him, oh yeah, look at this game, we could build all these levels, and he's like, all right, well, should we play it together? I'll go, nah.
Sorry, Dad.
Sorry, mate. I know it was hard enough to get you to play Mario Maker as it was, but now you can't even play it with me. He would look at this and he'd spit on it. Actually, he probably wouldn't. He would probably just go, "No, I'm right." But he wouldn't play it, and that is the main point. You want to be encouraging people to play these games.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fix it, Nintendo. Fix it quick.
So Mario Maker 2, not looking promising. Something to keep in mind for the future. The other massive bit of news that came out this week was Death Stranding.
What the fuck is this game?
Kojima has decided to show off just a little bit. Obviously, with Sony PlayStation backing them, they thought, when the best time to show this would be? Just before E3. Just as everyone's getting hyped up for that. No one really gives a shit now.
Steal the thunder.
Steal the thunder. So, Death Stranding has shown a load more gameplay, a load more imagery, I'm going to call it, for this game. Cutscenes. Sort of a little bit more about what this game is, but not too much. And this whole trailer and gameplay and whatnot is just...
It's a fever dream.
It's an organised mess. It's ridiculous. So they show lots of different things. They show a bit of like a couple of cutscenes. They show some gameplay. and they just completely vary absolutely everything. And at no point do they show you anything to make you understand what the hell is going on, but they also show you enough to bring you into it. So I'm sure we'll leave a link in the description below if you want to watch the trailer itself. We won't go too much into it at all, like in like super in depth as to like each little speck of detail. But like some of the things that this trailer does is just, you just would never get in any other trailer.
It just threw you in every direction. You had this awesome sort of starting cutscene, and then you go straight into gameplay, and you're like, what the?
Yeah,
it almost like remedial sort of gameplay. Like you pick up a ladder, you put the ladder down, you climb up the ladder.
Yeah, so it's like
and it was so exaggerated, like it was a key mechanic. You're like, what the?
So it's like starts off with like obviously a quick little introduction, so showing Norman Reedus on a motorcycle, traveling through birds, everything's dying around him. So sort of like creepy, weird-esque vibes. You're watching it the whole time you're watching this. You're just gonna be like, what the shit is going on? And then it's got its own like music that's been designed for it, which is incredibly epic. And it starts like with this big build up and epic claws of like symbols and whatnot. And then the first thing, like you said, the first thing they then show you is with all of this awesome music and amazing intro, it's just a guy going through
with the world's biggest backpack.
With the world's biggest backpack. It's like going through a selection wheel, just choosing the ladder. And it's like, oh, where do you want to place the ladder? Here. Oh, you can climb the ladder now. And then it shows you placing a rope on the ground and then scurrying down a cliff. Now, that's so weird
jarring.
And like this is a weird thing that Kojima's got this like amazing reputation of doing things completely differently and abnormally. So you know that he's done this on purpose because it's just there's no reason for it.
He's going for the what the fuck factor, and it works.
And it works so well, and it draws you in because you're looking at it, you're like, it's so far gone that you're like, why on earth would he be doing that? Or why on earth would they be showing that? And it's just so weird. But from that moment onwards, it's just showing more and more interesting things, like a bit of the combat. It shows you running away from a load of enemies that are then trying to swipe you. You can then pick up their suitcases and slap them in the face with their suitcases, and then they all start running away because they're scared of some rain. It then shows some invisible creatures of doom, which are like chasing after you, and you have to be able to like sonar scope them out. And then it switches then to World War One. Like, just listen, if you haven't seen the trailer when you're listening to this, you would be just saying like, what are they talking about? And that's genuinely how you feel when you're watching it. And then you've got this whole baby in a jar that's obviously linked in some way to the past, and how you control the past. And then it shows some of the third person shooter mechanics, a very small amount, and that is like the most that it sort of shows is it's got like this darkness and the creatures and all the enemies and everything like that. Is it shows it all, but it doesn't explain it, which is great, and it is leaving that element of surprise, that element of confusion, and it's enough to draw you in and go like, what the hell is going on? But it's not in any way spoiling as to what is possible in this game. Which is like a lot of games nowadays, they just show way too much, and that's what
oversell. And
that's what the problem I had with Kingdom Hearts 3. Don't show me every single world that I'm going to be going to in it. I'd love it if I just turned up at a world and it was like, oh, here you go, you've come to the Lion King world. Like, oh shit, that's in this game. Oh, awesome! Like
that's what keeps you in a game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the aspect and idea of exploration. Now this is an open world game, and they've shown some more footage of you like traipsing through like the environment, lugging just like loads of suitcases and whatnot. So we always knew that this was like, whenever they show any footage, you're just looking at it like, what the hell is this game about? And you still got that whole aspect. And like, even though, like I said, sat here and I've just said that you've got these different elements of time, and you've got some shooting, and then you've got some construction building in it. It's all done very, very well. Looks very finessed, and it looks like that is being shown to you like that for a reason. And I have all the faith in Kojima. I've not played too much of the Metal Gear Solid series, but I know that those games are unique, and I know that he made those games what they are today. Like, the new Metal Gear Survive, like, it just pretty much shows you everything that Konami really was. They were just after money. So, hopefully, and we'll leave the trailer in the description, is that this will be an amazing and unique experience.
Let it be, please.
Yeah, so most of it does look story driven, which I'm completely glad for, but again, this is the thing, is the whole of the Metal Gear Solid series, they were all story driven, but you would never have gameplay like that in any other game. That they just work so well. So to finalise this, unless you've got any opinions on this that need to be shared, I would say the game looks amazing. It's got great actors in it. It looks super strange. You feel super strange, even like watching trailers or hearing or even going to talk about it. There's just some stuff in there that you just have no idea what on earth a baby in a jar is doing, giving you the thumbs up.
I feel like we need this game at this time, because games at the moment have been very much sort of to the point, hitting target sort of thing for what they want to do. No one's pushing boundaries with games really anymore.
Yeah.
Sekiro did a bit, but it's very sort of on the nose gaming. I think we need something that's going to sort of just shake everything up again and get everything. Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, it will. Hopefully, it will create a new wave of unique gaming experiences. It's like what you'd imagine that an indie gamer is able to do, where they create these unique experiences. But obviously most indie gamers, they have a smaller amount of money and their mechanics are interesting but limited.
Mm-hmm.
If he's managed to make this work on a much grander scale, then we could be looking at Game of the Year. Definitely.
Best of both worlds here.
It has the potential to be amazing. And
Let it be, please.
Let it be, please. And this has a release date of the 8th of November now. Whilst I do get the feeling that it might get delayed. With this being Kojima's first game out the door with PlayStation, ever since he's left Konami, I have a lot of hope, and there is a lot of pressure on him for this, because
if anyone can do it,
if anyone can do it, it's him. And I have all the faith in the world in him, and it's something we should be looking forward to. But it's something that you've got to keep your eye on, because I reckon a couple of months down the line they're going to show a little bit more footage, just to put a few more things just in place, just so then you start to go, I need to see more about this story.
Yeah, they needed just a little
sort of thing,
a mid sort of season hook.
Yeah,
to keep us going.
So on that note, like I said, 8th of November release date. They have also announced the collector's packages, I guess we would call
There
it.
is 4 editions to this, all ranging with its own sort of perks and benefits and little extras and things, as all games come with these days. You've got your standard edition starting at $59.99.
Yeah, so
obviously pre-order.
£60 in the UK.
Yeah. Pre-order bonuses as well. You should get immediately with the voucher on download. We're just looking at nothing massive for that. We're looking at an avatar and a dynamic theme for the PlayStation 4.
Cool.
Nice little things to have, but not really an essential.
I mean, a steel book I think would be something that would draw me in more.
You have to cough up for the higher editions for that then. We've got the special edition, $69.99. Comes with a collectible steelbook.
So £70 in the UK. Our exchange rate is shiz.
A lot of things though. There is a lot of in-game items that are being released with these editions, especially with some of the later ones. So the digital deluxe edition, $79.99, and eventually the collector's edition, $199.99. They're such items. They've sort of the in-game things, they've actually specified what they will do. So, for instance, there's the gold all-terrain skeleton, which enhances Sam's ability to balance himself on uneven terrain, which unfortunately does sound a lot like you're buying
The capability to complete the game faster.
Yeah, and it's not just
or
for
advantage
things like
in the
that.
game.
All right, The balance of terrain, uneven terrain, is not a massive changer, but such things like.
But in a game like this, we don't know how much of a game changer that really is.
Exactly.
I mean, balance on terrain, that could mean be the lot be. I mean, it could realistically, it could be the difference between you actually being able to make it to a new area or not.
Such as other things we've got, such as armors that protect from damage, gunfire, falls, and more, and abilities to handle heavy cargo, so potentially get higher end of loot quicker potentially. But the only thing they have mentioned is some of the things are what they've decided is coming up as level 2, which might mean it might be handy at the beginning of the game, but eventually you'll earn better stuff going forward, as some games do, just as more of a little kickstart to get you into it. But there's a lot of some figures are coming with it. They've got
this with the collector's edition, isn't it?
The collector's edition has got some figures, steelbooks, a life-sized BB pod statue. And standard keychains as always. Everyone has to have a keychain now for their games, apparently.
Yeah.
But no, there's 4 editions, all ranging in price. Not as expensive as some editions we've seen in other games.
Yeah.
But not much in the way of pre-order.
I think it's only fair because I did scrutinise Borderlands 3 for it. Even with Death Stranding, I mean, I don't think there'll be microtransactions in it, which I think that's a completely different limit. But again, I don't like the idea that people that pay more get a different gaming experience to the people that pay less. It's a single player game predominantly, as far as what I'm aware of so far. So it shouldn't make too much of a difference, but it is going to make a difference. It means that people will play it differently. Like, you want to have a singular, unique experience. Like, bring in the cosmetics, bring in a couple of changing items and whatnot. Stop giving away these extra items that can affect terrain and affect this and affect that. I mean, bring in those items that make them look super unique, where they're like, yeah, look, I bought this game at £80 rather than £60, and for that I got a couple of dynamic skins, themes, some extra costumes, something fun maybe, or maybe they've got like access to things a little bit earlier on in the future with like DLC. I'm all for that, but just stop taking things away from people.
It seems counterproductive to put it into a single player game. Like, you're just then sort of cheating yourself out of the game. And obviously then with multiplayer games, you're then potentially getting an edge on everyone else who doesn't want or can't afford to buy the stupidly expensive editions for every game that comes out. It's that sense of it's weirdly like almost like a sense of hierarchy and within itself, where you've got some people will have like the deluxe edition, and I guess like this is what I find weird is like if you've got this deluxe edition that's if you need it to be like sort of unique and it to stand out, you don't need to make it yourself better for it. Like, I would be so annoyed if there's something that is like complicated or an item that's hard to farm. Sorry, my English is poor, isn't it? Hard to farm in a game. And then you're like thinking, okay, well, I need to figure out a way to do this or get this. And then you look at, say, for example, a guide on YouTube, or someone gives you a tip with it, or you get some help somewhere. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, if you have this face mask, which you should have gotten from the DLC, the extra content and whatnot, then those people are like, oh, no, I haven't got the real life money for that. I'm screwed out of that. It doesn't, and not everyone's then on the same playing field. And that's what I used to absolutely love about console gaming, is everybody was on exactly the same. Yeah. Everybody was doing exactly the same. No one had advantages other than faster internet, which is something that you can't really help, and that's not the gaming creators' problem. Exactly, yeah.
So, I mean, in all honesty, it doesn't take me away from not wanting the game. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait to see just a smidgen more closer to the context, time. Say, for example, late September, just give another little teaser trailer. Something like the intro scene, where it sort of like just builds up a little bit. Just
a little bit more
to
character
tick me
interaction,
over.
just so we can just get a feel for how it's going to be.
I've already seen, like, in the trailer, you've already seen the bad guys and the good guys, and at some point there, sort of like stood over a table next to each other, and then some guys licking a woman in the face, in the face, and I'm all for this sort of this dark ambition and confusion and everything that's coming with it. But I do need to just see that little edge more, just to say, this is what you're getting into. I don't like the idea of... I don't like the idea of buying a game where I don't know anything about, but I don't like the idea of buying a game where I know too much about. And he's staying on the right side of it so far. All I'm saying is just that little extra nudge to say, yeah,
because there'll be people who don't know his reputation and his games, so they'll look at it and be like, the fuck is this? They won't appreciate what it's trying to do. So you will need to almost...
Going off that, that's a really good point, actually, because like you say, me and you, we know of Metal Gear Solid. We've done research about games. If somebody doesn't know who this guy is, and there's always new kids getting a day older, or they might be 12 and they might have just seen this game for the first time. If they saw that start of that trailer with that epic music and then just showed a guy putting a ladder down, they would be horrendously put off.
Exactly. They need to release something, not to try to take away from the game, but they need to release something a little bit generic that's going to appeal to the people who just look at games for a thing to play.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will just pick up these games, it looks good from the cover. They won't go in to get it because they know what they're going to be getting out of it. So.
I always forget that the people that play games more in-depthly, like us, where they want to do research and they want to hear about games and they're much more interested in enveloping themselves into video games, more of a hobby rather than a pastime, those sorts of people are the minority of the gaming community.
Yeah.
Call of Duty sells multiple millions of copies a year because every single year people just go, Call of Duty, you point and you shoot and you kill people, easy and done. Whereas the people who play a lot of video games and know what they like out of video games and know what they want to get out of them will look at Call of Duty and they'll go, well,
we've had it.
I've had it last year, I don't need it again. And that's why they always rate so well, is because they are... in themselves, they're great games, the Call of Duty games. They play amazingly well, the mechanics are perfect, the graphics are beautiful, everything is really good for that experience. But if you've had that experience for the past 6 years running, you're going to get a bit tired of it. So, just going off that, Death Stranding, Kojima, keep up the good work.
Love it loads.
Love it loads. Don't screw it up. A little bit more. Not too much more. There's fine line of a quarter of a percent.
Perfect grey area. He'll find it.
But if anybody's going to find it, I'd like to hope it'd be him. Unless PlayStation get too involved and like, you need to be pushing this hard. Right, we'll move on. We were supposed to talk about lots of other things. Modern Warfare. Talking of Call of Duty. Oh my god, how coincidental is that? It's almost like we're professionals.
Like we wrote a script.
It's a shame we didn't know, because otherwise that would have been even more fluid and we wouldn't be talking like this right now. Modern Warfare, Call of Duty, the new game this year got announced. Ba-da-ba-dum. Didn't show too much. Did you watch the trailer?
I didn't know.
Well, okay. Well, I will talk you through it. You didn't miss much. So, in case you were confused or don't watch Call of Duty or don't know too much, Call of Duty is normally made by Treyarch, Infinity Ward, and Sledgehammer, and they normally take it in turns each year. There's been a couple of confusions more recently, but essentially last year was Treyarch, which is Black Ops. They do the Black Ops storyline, and
I like the Black Ops one.
Yeah. Storyline-wise, the Black Ops ones have always been best. However, multiplayer-wise, Modern Warfare has always shone through, apart from Infinite Warfare. We'll ignore that. But anyways, so Modern Warfare 1 and 2 were widely considered the best of the best when Call of Duty hit its peak. That and Black Ops 1 and 2 got very good ratings as well. But with Infinity War, it just all went downhill. Like, seriously downhill. Like, people were not happy at all. So thankfully they've, by the looks of it, they've gone back to their roots and they've just called this new one Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which weirdly enough is the same as Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, but You
Without the
see
four.
basically it's like the modern way of naming things nowadays. It's like the iPhone. They don't name it, go up iPhone 7, 8, 9, 10. They've ditched that now. It's now gone iPhone XS or iPhone XR, or because it's smarter. So what they've done is they've basically they're releasing Call of Duty Modern Warfare October 25th this year, and they gave a trailer with it. The trailer doesn't show much gameplay at all, if any.
Because it's the same gameplay as the last
No,
20
it's
games.
not. Shut up, be quiet. So they've shown amazing graphics. This a very, very, very similar art style to what they used to do in the original Modern Warfares, which is great. And then some classic characters, Captain Price. The guns look like how they should be, and there is something that I love the look of, and it's exactly. And I was trying to describe this to my family, is that Call of Duty Modern Warfare, what I love so much about it, and what I think actually drew me to the Call of Duty games back then, is the Modern Warfare aspect of it. Is it never felt like you were these super soldiers taking on this super villain force or anything like that. What it actually felt like was that you're an American or British soldier that's been professionally trained to take out enemies, and you were up against militia, so enemies that weren't fully trained, and they were just grabbing random RPGs and AK-47s. It gave this aspect of sort of like, you are the trained heroes and you will be the winners, however you have to execute these missions, and that's what made it feel almost realistic, I want to say. And none of the guns were sort of futuristic. They had a couple of like little perks on them, and obviously things that would never happen in real life, but it was never too far out of its depth.
Didn't reach that sci-fi sort of
sense. which was really cool, and they always managed to play it really well. Like, you could have like the chopper gunners and the AC-130s, where it did become almost a little bit ridiculous, and then like having a tactical nuke, obviously, but it didn't really matter because it wasn't taking it too far. It was implemented well into the game, and that's where it looks like they're going back to with this. Now, hopefully they're going to bring out some more content soon. Obviously, they said that they weren't going to be at E3 this year, so I wouldn't expect too much at E3 about it. Yeah, so it's something to watch out for. It's more what people have wanted. I mean, don't pre-order it, because the moment you pre-order this sort of game, these people, the Call of Duties, they get so much money as it is. They just make the pre-order bonuses just hysterically bad. Like, we're sat here complaining about Death Stranding, but
Call it's just gun skins. I mean, that's all.
It's not even gun skins. They give you the XP boost and XP this and XP that. The problem is that Activision are so money hungry that they'll just put everything down onto microtransactions anyway, which is always going to take away from it. But they have a chance, and I'm not going to hold out massive hope, because I know that they will dwindle it, but it's something to work towards, isn't it? I mean, I'd rather hear that they're making a game that's better with microtransactions than a game that's worse without microtransactions. That's with microtransactions.
We just want good games. If they have to come with microtransactions, at least they're not compulsory.
But I won't be buying them.
Yeah.
I mean, the moment the game, like Black Ops 3 made them almost compulsory, you got like all the better guns from the loot boxes. I mean, even Black Ops 4 does it now, where like some of the guns you have to unlock via getting your tiers. And it's just sort of stupid, because don't get me wrong, the tiers aren't necessarily hard to get, but it's just sort of like, if you go away for a couple of weeks on holiday, you miss out on those guns. That's it. Someone can have a gun that you can't, they'll kick your ass with it. It's just so stupid. So they might have learnt their lessons, but I highly doubt it. I really highly doubt it. They make way too much money from microtransactions to really even warrant it. But there you go. So that's October 25th. If you're a massive Call of Duty fan, I'm sure there'll be more details coming further down the line, but that's something else that you can look forward to. Right? To end on the main notes here, is Days of Play.
This is PlayStation's attempt to keep the limelight back on themselves and take all away from E3, because they're not going to be there.
Yeah, so PlayStation's not at E3, so what's the best thing to do? Let's do a massive promotion from the 7th of June to the 17th of June.
Not obviously the same dates as.
Oh no,
thing,
just over the
but
whole
just-
entire period.
Just before. Oh, we did it before. It was already before you started.
Yeah.
And we keep going after you finish as well.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll talk more about this next week anyway when we have our E3 podcast. But essentially what they're doing is they're doing a massive promotion, trying to upsell their games and whatnot, and trying to steal as much limelight away from E3 as possible. It is big news because it's just so obvious. And it's so weird that, I mean, PlayStation has the following to do it, but it's just so weird that they've literally just gone, we're not at E3 this year. But not only that, they've just gone, anybody else going to E3? We're just taking the focus off you. They've announced Death Stranding. They've done this. I mean, there's rumours that Last of Us Part 2 has been delayed to 2020, which wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think anybody was expecting it 2019 anyway.
No.
And they're doing all of these small little things that they're just equating to just distractions, and it's working because we're talking about it, sort of thing. I mean, how much more efficient their marketing team must be having a blimmin' party at the moment, because they're just sort of like, we've sussed it out. There's still going to be things to talk about at E3. Still lots of things to go over. I mean, like we were saying before earlier in this podcast, even Nintendo did it then. Like they've announced some things at the moment. Like, why aren't you saving it for E3? And the problem is because at E3 everybody else is talking, so your games will get lost. And this is the issue that obviously PlayStation wanted to avoid, is they don't want to get involved with that. They've kept it all back. So now Microsoft is sat there at the moment going, okay, well, we can't really do much at the moment until E3, because if they announce anything now, they won't have anything at E3.
They're going to take the show now, I reckon. They'll just...
No, I reckon it'll be Nintendo.
Could be, yeah.
Or, going off of this, Square Enix. Because not only have they got Final Fantasy VII, which is the biggest thing known to man anyway, not only that, and they'll give a release date for that, I reckon. Not only that, but the Marvel Avengers game, which they teased so many years ago that everybody is constantly asking for. And after Square Enix last year, as much as I love them, last year was disgustingly bad. It was so bad. I rushed home from work for that and everything. But that is been confirmed that they are talking about it this year.
This is the chance to do it. Everyone's sort of...
Yeah.
Infinity Wars sort of and Endgame has done its thing, so...
It now is a good time as ever. I mean, you never know. They could have been collabing with them about it.
I never know.
But we'll talk about E3 stuff next week, because we've rattled on for quite a while already, and like I said, this is without us even. This is with us avoiding talking about E3. You just imagine what next week's going to be like. Right, so that's the main sort of news that we've had this week. So we've had Marvel, the Days of Play, the Modern Warfare, Death Stranding, Mario Maker 2, the new Pokemon games all coming out. Those have been the main sort of subjects that we wanted to talk about. We've just got a couple of things just to go over in the quick wind down. Cadence of Hyrule. They've shown a little bit more gameplay of that, and they've also given a predicted 20th of June release date, which is very soon. It was originally supposed to be coming out in spring, though, so there was obviously issues with that. It's not a massive game, so I'm okay with a little bit of a delay. That, again, delays always just say to me, we're just making it a little bit better. I'm completely fine with
Justifiable.
that. Keeping people updated, though, is the main thing with these delays.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is people forgetting about your game.
Yeah, exactly. And then the only other thing that I've got is Destiny 2's next chapter is going to be shown on the 6th of June. The reason that this is in the wind down is because Destiny 2's not quite what it used to be. But now
was it ever?
Yeah, well, now that they've split from Activision, there's obviously potential for a lot more. So when they show it on the 6th of June, we'll go over it and we'll talk about it in next week's podcast anyway. Oh my god, well, this is going to be such a busy week next week, isn't it? And then the week after is going to be even busier.
It's madness.
It's madness. So that's something to keep an eye out for. And if you're a massive Destiny fan, get yourself there, get yourself listening to that. You got anything for the wind down, Luke?
Yes, which is what I reckon how Microsoft are going to steal the show at E3. their announcement of taking over or purchasing 14 new game studios.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it may be small games that they're making for these studios and these developers,
Mm-hmm.
but potentially that opens up a lot of opportunities for some new and good games coming out. I don't think they're going to do any exclusives for the Xbox, but
I mean,
it'd be nice to see some them sort of endorsing maybe smaller publishers and things to get some new games into the system.
new games are always good.
Always good.
Xbox have shown themselves in the past, in the recent months, that they're quite big indie supporters.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this numerous times, so there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's going to be interesting to see which ones they've got. I mean, they did the same last year where they announced how many studios they bought and how well it's going, and they are doing well with it. But for somebody that spends any free time they've got on AAA games, it's not something that will affect me largely.
No.
But I can appreciate it.
Unless they come out with some good games.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many indie games I'd love to get a hold of and love to play, but I've got such a backlog of games at the moment. I need to finish them first.
Yeah.
Once they're done, then this sort of thing will definitely appeal to me. But I'm not the majority here. There's loads of people that love indie games and love the smaller games. I know your partner does, because he's a bit of a fruitcake. But that's what seems to suit. It's going to be interesting. I mean, since Xbox got last year's and they announced all of these studios that they bought and whatnot, I haven't heard too much about it since then. There was a couple of games, don't get me wrong, and we did bring light to them, and we did say how nice a lot of them looked. But that's as far as we seem to go with them.
It's all nice, isn't it? Nothing amazing. So hopefully, with the added aspects of these, there might be something a bit big on the horizon we can sort of get a bit more into.
Yeah, so other than that, I reckon Xbox to steal the show. Xbox to steal the show will be Halo 6.
Halo Infinite.
Yeah, fine, we'll call it Halo Infinite.
Slander.
We'll talk about this next week.
The last thing I've got, which is no surprise really, but I'm surprised it hadn't happened earlier. YouTube, their gaming streaming app system software thing has been shut down.
Yeah, the reason we know not much about it is because nobody seems to know much about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just seemed to be, here it is. No one ever used it because Twitch was already fully functional and
worked
better, I think, in a lot of aspects. I know a lot of YouTubers that went over to start using Twitch and never really came back to YouTube's own streaming. So they have, as someone put it, they have bent the knee to Twitch.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I blame them. They might as well have done, because I didn't realise they existed. We have enough troubles with our YouTube channel trying to upload a banner. Never mind even figuring out where the streaming service is and how it works on YouTube. We've had so many issues with it. So this sort of thing, genuinely to me,
how it
just
lasted
sort of
4 years.
Yeah, it's just abnormal. I mean, like when you think about it, like Google's got like one of the biggest companies in the world, and they have the YouTube app or their YouTube creator module is just like so beginner unfriendly, I'm gonna call it. It's just unbelievably distasteful and broken.
There's so much. It's got all these annoying sort of like factory default settings that is not what people want.
It's just certain things like that. You just like when you hear it, you're like, oh, just
how's this only happening now?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, there you go. They gave it a go. They spent a lot of money on it, and just like Stadia, it's all gone down the shitter. I can't say that, can I?
What's Stadia?
Oh no.
Nobody knows.
I mean, we still haven't heard from them. It's been blooming 11 weeks. 11 weeks. You've got a brand new console coming out this year.
They cacked it. They realised that, oh no, this is not going to work. It's going to be bad. Well, no one can play it.
Do you reckon? I mean, it's entirely possible. I mean, they could make a surprise appearance at E3. Do you reckon Microsoft have teamed up with them?
No, because Microsoft have teamed up with Sony to try and overdo them. And this, they had this fear that they're going to be overtaken by Stadia. Then Stadia, the wet fart that it turned out to be, hasn't done anything. So now they're working together for no reason.
Yeah.
So
they're crap, aren't they?
I think they talked to like a big game. They went to actually put it into like into the public where it would sort of be physically used,
Yeah.
and people are like, oh, it didn't work. It does not.
I just don't. There was so much ambition. Like, I don't understand how, like,
we said it ourselves. The real world application
Google
would be the
have
make or break.
all the information in the world. Every time you type in that weird abnormal fetish on Google, they know about it. So if they have all of my information like that, how do they not realise that most people will not be able to use that service very well? We shouldn't really be talking about this, should we? It's like completely irrelevant, isn't it? Stadia is non-existent as far as we're aware.
Yeah, it was a pipe dream that went down the pipe.
That's a load of wasted money, really.
Yeah,
I could have bought me a new car. And I need a new car. Mine's falling to pieces.
savage.
Right, I think that's pretty
Donate
much it.
to Patreon.
Donate, please. Help me get a car. Have you got anything else to add, Luke?
Nope. We are saving everything else for E3.
So
Otherwise, we'll be here all day.
potentially 2 podcasts next week, depending on how... What the hell is that? But depending on how lazy we feel.
We're going to be pumped. We're going to
Pumped.
be excited.
And we're going to hopefully get out a Final Fantasy video next week as well, describing the reasons you should be looking forward to Final Fantasy 7.
Oh, you're going to love the shit of that video, aren't you?
That's going to be a fun video to make. And then potentially get ourselves up onto Apple Podcasts and potentially Spotify as well, to make this a little bit easier for you to listen to. Anyways, thank you very much for listening. That's all from me at Charge Attack, and I'll speak to you next week.
In the next one.
Bye.
Bye.